The galaxy had long stopped fearing humans. They were small, soft, and scattered, a fading species trying to survive among stronger, faster races. To the alien councils, humans were a curiosity, a memory of chaos now replaced by order. But the galaxy had forgotten one thing. Humans never travel alone. On the arena world of Clivax, thousands of aliens gathered to witness the galactic games. Creatures from every corner of the stars shouted as champions from different species fought for glory. In the center of it all stood a young human girl named Aaron, small in size, calm in face, and holding something strange in her arms, a squat, black and white creature with angry eyes. The crowd laughed. "This is humanity's fighter," one of the announcers hissed through his scaled lips. "A child with a rodent?" The laughter echoed through the dome. Even the massive reptilian champion, known as the Serac beast, roared with amusement. It had crushed metal and bone with its jaws. No one had ever lasted more than a minute against it. The idea of a small earth animal facing it was ridiculous. Aaron said nothing. Her eyes didn't move from the beast's face. The creature in her arms, the honey badger, sniffed the air and gave a low growl that sounded too deep for its size. When the gates opened, the champion charged forward. The ground trembled. Every alien leaned forward, expecting the little creature to flee or hide behind its human. But the honey badger jumped down with a snarl that froze the arena. The Serac beast struck first, fast as lightning, but the honey badger rolled under its claws, biting deep into the scaled foreleg. The alien beast roared in pain, thrashing. Blood, dark and thick, splattered across the sand. The crowd gasped. Then the honey badger attacked again. It moved like fury itself, claws raking, teeth sinking, refusing to stop. The Serac tried to shake it off, smashing into walls, but the creature didn't let go. Its small body seemed made of iron, its rage endless. Aaron stood silently, her eyes calm as chaos filled the arena. "You laughed," she whispered, her voice lost under the screams. "But you never understood Earth." When the dust settled, the Serac beast lay silent on the ground, motionless. The honey badger sat beside Aaron, covered in blood, but still glaring at the audience, daring anyone to move. No one did. The laughter was gone. Every alien in the crowd stared at the small human and her creature, and for the first time in years, they felt something they hadn't felt toward a human in centuries: fear. Above the arena, the Galactic Council's representatives exchanged nervous glances. One whispered, "If this is her pet, what are the humans keeping as weapons?" The silence that followed was heavier than any roar. The arena stayed silent long after the fight ended. The smell of metal, blood, and fear still hung in the air. Aaron didn't move. The honey badger sat beside her, breathing slow, its fur stained crimson. Around them, guards hesitated to enter the sand pit. Even the drones recording the match hovered uncertainly, as if afraid to get too close. A deep voice finally broke the silence. "Remove the body." Two large alien soldiers entered carefully, dragging the shredded corpse of the Serac champion. One of them whispered, "That thing is not an animal." The other nodded. "It's something worse." Up in the council chamber above the arena, alien leaders argued in sharp, hissing tones. The spectacle had embarrassed them. The Serac were supposed to be the strongest warriors in this quadrant, and now, before a live broadcast across multiple worlds, they had been humiliated by a child and a creature the size of a backpack. "Human tricks," growled one of the reptilian lords. "They use unnatural creatures. We should ban their species from the games." But the gray-skinned ambassador from the Central Systems leaned forward. "Ban them? No. Study them." His cold eyes flicked to the screen showing Aaron. The humans were nearly extinct after the Terran Wars. Yet here one stands, with a weapon no one understands. "We should learn how." Meanwhile, down below, Aaron led her honey badger through the metallic corridors beneath the arena. Security lights flickered on the walls. The creature stayed close, sniffing the air as if searching for threats. Aaron's voice was soft. "You did good, Caro," the honey badger grunted. It didn't understand words, but it understood tone and loyalty. As they reached their holding room, a small maintenance drone floated near, scanning them with curiosity. Caro growled, and the drone zipped back into the shadows. Aaron smiled faintly. Yeah, I know. No one trusts us. Moments later, the door opened with a hiss. A tall alien officer entered, a member of the Varan species, gray armor gleaming. The council requests your presence, human Aaron, he said flatly. Aaron raised an eyebrow. Now? Yes, immediately, she sighed. Fine, but I'm not going without him. She gestured at Caro. The officer hesitated, staring at the honey badger's blood-stained claws. The animal stays. Aaron's tone sharpened. If he stays, I stay. The silence stretched for several seconds before the officer reluctantly stepped aside. Very well. Inside the council chamber, a dozen alien leaders sat in a half-circle of glowing thrones. Their eyes followed her like predators watching prey. Holograms of the arena battle played on the screens around them, the exact moment Caro tore through the Sarak's chest, replaying again and again. One of the counselors leaned forward. You brought a dangerous organism into our games. Explain its nature. Aaron folded her arms. It's called a honey badger. From Earth. Laughter broke out again, this time softer, more nervous. Another alien hissed, that was not a creature. That was a weapon. Tell us how it killed something 50 times its size. Aaron met his eyes calmly. It didn't kill it because it was strong. It killed it because it didn't care about losing. That answer left the chamber in uneasy silence. The gray ambassador from earlier leaned back, studying her. Humans, you always turn weakness into power. Even your pets are monsters. Aaron smiled faintly. We just survive. That's all. After she left, the counselors began whispering to each other again. Plans were already forming. Capture the creature. Dissect it. Learn its design. In the corridor, Aaron's wrist communicator flickered. A faint voice came through, a human accent. Aaron, this is base command. Your broadcast went viral across 6 systems. You've got their attention. Prepare for extraction, she frowned. Not yet. They're planning something. I can feel it. Caro gave a low growl, claws scraping the metal floor. Somewhere deep in the station, the alarms began to pulse red. Security drones activated, scanning for a breach. Aaron turned to her companion, whispering, See? I told you. The honey badger bared its teeth. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's smallest creatures were sometimes its deadliest messengers. The red lights flashed across the long metallic corridors, sirens echoing through the alien station. Guards rushed past, their boots clanging against the steel floors. Somewhere in the distance, a mechanical voice repeated in several alien languages. Containment breach. Unauthorized entity in the lower decks. Aaron moved fast, keeping low as Caro, the honey badger, ran beside her. The small creature's claws made faint scratching sounds, its body tensed like a spring. It could smell danger before it appeared. Aaron's eyes stayed sharp, reading the path ahead through flickering light. The humans watching from their hidden outpost were already tracking her through a tiny camera on her jacket. Her earpiece buzzed. Aaron, you need to get to Dock 7. Extraction team is inbound. Negative, she whispered. They're after Caro. If we leave now, they'll just follow. Aaron, you don't have orders to fight? I don't need orders. She cut the connection. 2 guards turned a corner up ahead, weapons raised. Aaron ducked behind a crate, but Caro was faster. The honey badger bolted forward, a blur of teeth and fury. One guard screamed as Caro leapt at his arm, claws slicing through armor. The other fired, missing, as the creature bit deep into his leg. When both were down, Caro trotted back calmly, blood dripping from its jaws. Aaron knelt and whispered, You're a nightmare with fur. The creature made a small huffing sound that might have been pride. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed, bigger, slower, colder. Aaron turned and saw a new figure approaching through the smoke. A champion twice the size of a human, armored in silver scales and carrying an energy halberd. Its eyes glowed blue. The alien's voice boomed through the hallway. Human, surrender your beast. The council demands it alive. Aaron straightened slowly. You think I'd hand over my friend to be cut open? You have no choice. She smiled without humor. That's the thing about humans. We always do, Caro snarled. The champion swung the halberd, slicing through the air. Aaron dove aside as the floor split open from the blow. Caro lunged again, striking fast, teeth finding gaps in the armor. The alien roared, trying to throw it off, slamming its weapon against the walls, sparks flying. Aaron crawled to a dropped blaster, aimed carefully and fired. The shot struck the champion's chest plate, cracking it open. Caro saw the weakness and tore into it with a furious sound that made even the alarms fade for a moment. When it was over, the champion collapsed, motionless. Smoke curled from its armor. Aaron stood, breathing hard. "They still think we're weak," she said softly. "Let's remind them what that means." Caro shook the blood off its fur, eyes glowing in the red light. Somewhere above, the council chamber was chaos. Screens showed dead guards, broken machines, and the body of their warrior. "Seal the hangars," shouted one of the counselors. "She cannot leave this station." But the gray-skinned ambassador from before only smiled thinly. "Don't seal anything. Watch. The humans always reveal more when cornered." Down in the tunnels, Aaron and Caro moved again, heading deeper instead of up. She knew the aliens expected her to flee toward the docks, so she chose the one place they wouldn't guard, the central reactor core. She stopped at a locked door glowing with warning lights. "You ready, Caro?" The honey badger made a low growl that sounded like yes. As she placed her hand on the control pad, Aaron's mind replayed every moment since she entered the games. The laughter, the insults, the shock, the silence. They wanted to study Earth's monsters. Now they were about to meet one. The reactor core was buried deep inside the alien station, guarded by walls thicker than any fortress. It hummed like a heartbeat, a steady thrum of power that kept the entire structure alive. Aaron moved through the narrow corridors leading to it, every step echoing in the low red light. Caro stayed close, silent now, nose twitching, muscles ready. The door to the reactor opened with a hiss. The room inside was vast, glowing with energy coils and blue light that pulsed like lightning. The heat hit them instantly, hot enough to sting skin. Aaron squinted against the glare. "Perfect," she muttered. She walked toward the control terminal and started typing on the alien console. The screen flickered with symbols, unreadable to most humans, but Aaron had studied their systems for years. "They think I came here to fight," she said quietly. "They never guessed I came to learn." Caro growled softly, sensing motion. From the shadows above, drones dropped down, 6 of them, hovering, weapons glowing. Aaron ducked as the first shot sizzled past her ear. The honey badger launched upward like a spring, claws smashing into metal. Sparks filled the air as Caro tore through the drones one by one. When it was done, the creature landed beside her, surrounded by broken machines. Aaron finished inputting her code. The reactor lights dimmed, then flared again, shifting from blue to red. The hum deepened. A mechanical voice spoke in the alien tongue, repeating one word: "Override." High above the station, the council's communication network started flickering. Monitors went dark. Alarms rose across multiple decks. The gray-skinned ambassador leaned forward as reports came in. "What is she doing?" A technician stammered. "She's accessing the main energy core. She's rewriting our security grid! Stop her!" The ambassador barked, but down below it was already too late. Aaron turned from the console as the door burst open. Dozens of armored soldiers poured in, blasters raised. The leader shouted, "Drop the weapon! Step away from the terminal!" Aaron lifted her hand slowly. "I'm unarmed!" Behind her, Caro snarled, teeth bared, fur standing on end. The soldiers aimed their guns, tense. Aaron's voice was calm. "You want him, right? The creature that beat your champion? Take him." For a brief second, confusion rippled through the ranks. Then one soldier stepped forward cautiously, extending a restraint rod toward Caro. That's when Aaron whispered, "Now." The honey badger lunged. The soldiers fired, but Caro was already among them, fast, vicious, unstoppable. Armor shattered, weapons fell, and screams filled the reactor room. Aaron turned back to the console and pressed a final command. The screens turned black, replaced by a human symbol, the old Terran crest glowing faintly. Across the entire station, systems went offline. Doors sealed, engines froze. The mighty alien structure, once proud and untouchable, was now under human control. Up in the council chamber, panic spread. "She's shutting us down! They're inside our systems!" The ambassador slammed his claws on the table. "How? They were supposed to be primitives." "Maybe they still are," whispered another counselor, trembling. "That's what makes them dangerous." Back in the core, Aaron watched the control lights stabilize. Her face was pale, tired, but steady. "You wanted to see what humans could do," she said softly. "Now you will." Caro padded to her side, fur matted but eyes bright. "Let's finish this," Aaron murmured. Outside the viewport, the alien fleet began to turn toward the station, alerted to the chaos. Dozens of ships surrounded them, weapons charging. Aaron stared at the glowing void beyond and took a deep breath. The war she hadn't planned to start was now impossible to stop. Outside the station, space filled with the shimmer of approaching warships. Their hulls glowed red from weapon charge, their cannons aimed at the captured station that once belonged to them. Inside, alarms screamed across the corridors as systems flickered between alien code and the human override Aaron had forced into place. She stood before the central terminal, hands steady on the controls. The honey badger crouched beside her, its fur singed and still bristling from the last fight. "Looks like we've got company," she muttered. The station's sensors showed a dozen ships locking weapons. They don't waste time, do they? The earpiece on her collar buzzed again. "Aaron, this is command. What did you do? Every alien channel is broadcasting your face." "I gave them something to remember," she said. "How far is extraction?" 15 minutes if you survive that long." "You're surrounded," Aaron smirked. "That's just how we like it." The doors behind her exploded open, metal twisting under the force. A squad of elite soldiers poured in, sleek armor, advanced plasma rifles, faster than any she had faced yet. The leader, tall and insect-like, pointed a glowing blade at her. "Humans, surrender now. You cannot win." Aaron tilted her head slightly. "You said that before your champion died." The creature snarled and lunged. Aaron dropped low as the blade sliced past her. Caro launched forward like a storm, claws flashing, teeth finding a weak spot in the armor. The soldiers opened fire, bolts burning through the air. Aaron rolled behind a console, grabbing a plasma baton from one of the fallen guards. She fought with quick, sharp movements, not graceful, not perfect, but desperate and real. Every strike counted. Every dodge meant survival. Caro fought beside her, an unstoppable blur of rage, ignoring wounds that would have killed anything else. When the last soldier fell, the room filled only with the hum of the reactor and the distant rumble of explosions outside. Aaron wiped blood from her forehead, chest heaving. "You good?" she asked. Caro gave a short grunt and shook itself, spattering the floor with droplets of dark blood. Aaron opened the station's communication array. "Broadcast active?" A faint light flickered. "Online." She leaned close to the microphone. Her voice was low but steady. "To every species watching this, you laughed at Earth. You called us fragile, backward, small. You thought we had nothing left but our ruins. You were wrong." The transmission spread across the sector. Her image appeared on alien screens from orbiting stations to planetary outposts. Some laughed again at first. Others watched in silence as she continued. "You saw one creature fight today? One animal we call a honey badger. It doesn't care about size or odds or fear. It just fights until the end. That's what we are. That's humanity. Remember that before you ever decide to mock us again." She ended the transmission and turned back to the control screen. The incoming fleet was moving closer now. Energy readings spiked. They were going to destroy the entire station. Aaron glanced at Caro. "They're not letting us go, buddy," the creature growled, low and fierce. "Then we don't run," she said. "We finish what we started." She tapped a few commands. On the screen, reactor stability warnings flared red. She was rerouting the core's energy to the external defense grid. The gray-skinned ambassador aboard one of the enemy ships watched his monitors flicker. "She's activating the station's main weapons." "Stop her!" But the control link was gone, overwritten by human code. Inside the core room, Aaron pulled a lever down hard. The entire station shuddered. Massive energy arcs lit the void as the defense cannons came alive, powered by the reactor she'd just hijacked. The first alien ship fired, But before its blast could hit, the station's beams answered. The explosion lit up space like a new star. The Council fleet staggered. Chaos filled their channels. In the middle of it all, a lone human and her small, furious companion stood calm inside the storm they'd created, Aaron whispered. They mocked Earth. Let's show them why that was a mistake. The alien fleet surrounded the captured station like a tightening noose. From a distance, it looked like a dead star, glowing red and alive with fire. Inside, Aaron stood beside the main console, face lit by the chaos of flashing lights. The station shook again as another volley struck its shields. "Caro," she said quietly. "They're not stopping." The honey badger paced beside her, growling at the rumbling walls, claws scraping metal. It was ready to fight again, even if there was nothing left to fight but death itself. On the alien flagship, the gray-skinned ambassador stared at the tactical display. "How is she still standing?" he hissed. "Destroy that station now." Dozens of energy cannons fired. The blasts hit all at once. The screens turned white, then black, but when the light cleared, the station was still there. Smoke poured from the hull, but it hadn't exploded. Instead, new lights began to pulse across its surface, blue and gold, the mark of human override. Aaron's voice crackled through every open channel in orbit. "You wanted to erase us. You laughed when we fell, but you forgot something. We don't break." From the reactor's heart, energy built to impossible levels. The human-coded systems had done something no alien design ever dared. Merged the reactor's defensive grid with the hyperspace drive. The entire structure began to vibrate with growing power. Caro turned its head toward Aaron, confused. She knelt beside it, running a blood-stained hand through its fur. "You did enough, little guy. Time to go home." The creature blinked up at her, eyes sharp and wild, but stayed silent. Outside, the ambassador's aide shouted, "The reactor is overloading! It's going to—" The explosion wasn't like a weapon. It was like a sun being born. The station released all its energy in a single blinding pulse that ripped through space. Every alien ship caught in range was thrown back, shields shattered, systems dead. The blast wave expanded, silent and endless, erasing everything that had been aimed at her. When the light faded, nothing was left but fragments and silence. Days later, the recording spread across the galaxy. The last broadcast of a human girl and her strange, unstoppable creature played on thousands of worlds. Her words echoed through translation networks and holograms. You saw one fight, one creature from Earth. Now imagine the ones you haven't met yet. The Council never recovered from the shame. Their fleets withdrew from Terran space, and for the first time in generations, humans were spoken of not as relics, but as legends. On a quiet planet far from the core worlds, a small ship touched down on a grassy plain. Its hatch opened, and a honey badger stepped out, eyes still fierce but finally calm. A hologram of Aaron flickered beside it, her voice recorded long ago. "If anyone finds this, take care of him. He's Earth's last soldier." The hologram faded, but the little creature stayed there, staring at the stars as if waiting for someone who might return. Above, the night sky burned with the light of distant battles and dying empires, all of them remembering the day they mocked a human's pet and learned what humanity truly was.